Hi everyone. You're listening to GydeBites, the vidcast that delivers big L&D insights into small bites. I'm your host today. I'm Prasanna, co-founder of company called Guide. It's a AI-powered digital adoption platform. Today we are unpacking how you can embed culture of learning in the flow of work. And our guest, Cammy Wood, is with us today. She is a global director of learning and engagement at GoDaddy with over 20 years of experience in L&D, learning tech, and so on and so forth. Welcome, Cammy.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
So let's straight away jump in. Cammy, can you tell some of the ways in which you can embed the learning in daily work?
Yeah, I think integration into the technology that we have in existence today is really important. And the first word that comes to mind, of course, is going to be gamification. When you make learning fun and you make it something that people want to do and enjoy doing while they're learning, the chances of them engaging and completing it and really internalizing the content increases. Additionally, there's room for what we call learning communities, which taps into that experiential learning aspect. And so what I mean by that is when you have a particular training program, let's say, I'll use leadership training, just generalized as an example. You have the ability to take some of the training in the single modules or the single deliveries and expound upon them after the training has completed via a learning community. And so what is cool about learning communities is that they're driven by the learner, not by the organization or the learning team. It is a way for learners to engage with each other and add to what they learned post-training so that they can build upon the skills that they took away from whatever training it is that they're capitalizing on and apply with maybe the resources that are available to them or the concepts or what have you in order to keep that learning going. And so really there's so much that can be done in both gamification and learning community.
That sounds really interesting, Cammy. So, to enable such kind of learning, do you have some set of tools that you would recommend, or do you have like a laundry list that you can suggest to our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, you got to have a great learning management system. And, great is relative. The intention of a learning management system is to do exactly that, manage the learning. And as long as that learning management system is able to, catalog the learning in a way that is easy to choose and sign up for, and has the ability to give you the data you need to understand who has signed up for it, who, disenrolled or what have you, then your learning management system is doing what it needs to for you. I think there is also something to be said for the tools that bring gamification to the forefront. And that can be done in multiple ways, right? So it can be actual gamified learning, in which case you're buying a product that gamifies it for you, right? So maybe it's something like Trivia Maker, or there's a number of tools out there. I say Trivia Maker because I've just recently come across it. It's really just a bunch of games already pre-built that you then tailor to your learning needs, right? Which people love games. We've already talked about that. And then you can also gamify learning and create communities via communication platforms like Slack or Teams. You can do it in Zoom even. There's been so many things that have come about since the pandemic that have enabled us to be a lot more agile virtually. And I think the more you explore what that technology can do for you and what those resources bring your learners, the better off you're going to be in just understanding how they interact and engage with it.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. So, Cammy, along with the technologies, the next, I mean, the most logical question that comes to everyone's minds is the data, right? Because all these tools, they capture a lot of data. They sort of tell you the insights, they tell you how people are using it, and so on and so forth. So, can you shed a little bit of light on how you can use that data to improve this kind of learning for the organization and for the employees and the users also?
Absolutely. Data tells a story. And if you use the data in, the best way, then you're going to figure out very quickly where your gaps are, not just with the technology, but also maybe the learning itself, and the learner experience. And so there's a multitude of ways that you can interpret that story and then tell it, right? And so for us, especially in our own organization and on my team specifically, that learner experience is our number one priority. They are our customer, right? And so we really hone in on what made it easy for them to learn. What did they capture as a real world applicable skill? What didn't they find value in? Because there is as much information there as there is in what they did find value in. I think too that modality matters. So some learning is best delivered self-paced in a gamified way, because it's technical and there's more, there's a better development when they can get hands-on in it, right? And then
Yeah.
there's other things like soft skills, leadership, or sales that really does need that facilitator approach to drive discussion and build on practice scenarios and those kind of things, right? So the modality matters. And when you measure what that impact to the learner experience is by modality, it's going to tell you a very clear story. Did it land? Did it not land? And in what ways, right? And then I think finally too, it's about some of those cases that maybe we don't look too hard at on occasion, which is what time did the learner take the training if it was self-paced? If it was instructor-led, was it too early?
No.
Was it too late in the day? Was it too long? There's so many things that go into play here, right? And so all of these things, when you put them together, you'll start to see what that true story for each individual learning and learner really is. And sometimes you're going to walk away with a solid win. It's going to be, 5 stars across the board. You nailed it timing-wise, you nailed it modality-wise, you nailed it, from an activity perspective. And to other time, not so much.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, there are a lot of things at play, right? And the data tells you what's working and what's not, essentially. So, glad to hear these things from you. So, Cammy, I just want to double click on one more thing here. So, can you share your experience either in current organization or in your past organization where you have implemented this learning in the flow of work, and what kind of results you have seen, or what kind of new things that you have seen after implementing this? Can you tell a little bit more on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting because this year I was tasked with a new team and a new focus, which was learner engagement for the organization. Really shifting our culture to be that of a learning culture. And on the surface, that sounds straightforward. And, okay, let's get people in training. That's really what it sounds like, right? And
Everything sounds straightforward, isn't it?
it does. It's so simple, right? And the fact of the matter of it is that it is simple in strategy and the various things that are necessary to engage an organization's learning mode. And at the same time, when you start peeling back the layers, it really is a phased approach. And so one of the things that my team honed in on immediately was our Slack channel that supports the entire organization. And so, we have a dedicated learning and development Slack channel. It's really important so that, people can come and ask us questions and, solve any kind of challenges that they may be having around training or with best training. I mean, there's so many different reasons why that kind of communication is needed. And what we recognized was that our learning and development dedicated channel had really just kind of become just a troubleshooting channel. There was no real learning push or fun at all. There was no fun. Where was the fun? So we're missing the fun. And, it could be used for so much more. And so what we did was we rebranded it. So we completely changed the name of the channel. And we completely changed the function and the intention of the channel. And so in doing so, what we have seen is that now we have a solid place, a single point for our learners to come to us and see all the things happening in the organization, from Australia to Hawaii.
Wow.
Right? Everywhere that we have something going on, you're going to be able to understand what it is and who it's for and how it's happening. And that's been great. So the marketing piece has absolutely been a huge win for us. Let's take that one step further, though. What we also created was cadences. And so you can count on a 5-minute Friday that highlights our LinkedIn learning segments and the things that we're focused on and helping you understand that you can take advantage of in a self-paced way, in a huge benefit to our organization, right? We offer LinkedIn Learning. That's huge. And so it's a way for us to keep that front and center in our organization and remind them you have this, endless library of learning for you to choose from. So that's one way. Another thing that we do is we highlight Wednesdays. And Wednesdays is spelled WINS. Okay. And what we do there is we highlight a learner win. So the various classes that we have going on across the organization, there's always going to be feedback that we come back with or that they share with us. And we always like to highlight, from this class, the learner took away this. And here's a verbatim that we've received from this leader or, this guy or whatever the case may be. As a result of that, here's what we've seen. So we rebranded the channel in March, and we had roughly 300 people in the channel. And I'd say they were passive members of the channel. Since March, especially June, we now have almost 600 people in the channel. So we've almost doubled our learner participation. Wow. And the engagement that we've seen in the channel in those 3 months has increased significantly. I don't even have a percentage for you because it's that much more. I mean, it's a daily thing now that we hear from our learners, and it's not all about troubleshooting and I can't get into this class and I don't know where this one those kind of things. Right? We still get those, and that's great. We want those. Yeah. But it's more than that. Now there's actual learner engagement happening. It's really exciting to see.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, seeing participants going from 300 to 600 in the matter of months is crazy.
We thought so too, and we're trying to really capitalize on the momentum, right? Like that's the trick. Is we're on the wave now. Can we ride it?
Yeah, makes sense. Cammy, and last one, and we cannot conclude without asking this question, right? So, Gen AI is everywhere. So LLMs are everywhere, ChatGPTs are everywhere, Geminis are everywhere. So, how do you see these tools, these Gen AI tools, transforming or shaping the future of learning in the flow of work? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm already seeing it. It's already happening. The simulations that have started to be developed as a result of generative AI it's mind-blowing, truly. And there's been a significant shift in how organizations who are building these simulations and utilizing generative AI are coming to the table with the products that they've designed. 2 years ago, it was not nearly as advanced as it is even today. It's incredible. And what I'll liken it to is like the iPhone 3GS, right? So we'll say the iPhone 13. I don't know that we're quite at the 15 yet, but here's what I'll tell you is that in just 2 years, we have seen this huge shift in what can be done from a simulation perspective just by tapping into an organization's communication pipeline. When generative AI learns your organization's phrasing, terminology, acronyms, troubleshooting steps, customer service support flows, I could keep going. You get the point. What'll happen is that you can customize and tailor your simulation in a way that is targeted and almost guarantees the learning experience that you're designing. And what I mean by that is that, let's say, for example, a sales team who sits in a call center and is learning what it means to, and actually, let me back that up. They don't sit in a call center. They work in a call center, but they're remote employees. So think about that for a second. Now I've got to learn calls from close, but I don't have the person next to me on this side of me to go, wait, what button do I need to push next? Right? I mean, that's challenging. And we really had to figure out, how do we make this work, especially during the pandemic? And so I think the simulations that are happening now that allow our remote learners to see what they need to look at and click on next really shortens that time to that speed to development and the support that is so direly needed for our customers immediately. It lessens that gap in a hugely significant way. So that's one way. I think the other thing that a lot of us are just now starting to run into is just the processes that can be shortened and more efficient via generative AI. So, examples would be writing learning objectives. That you plug it into a generative AI tool and you do a good enough prompt and you're going to get a solid learning objective, right? Help let generative AI design the outline for your activity that you want to do in your leadership training. But these are the ways that you can, as a human, leverage things like ChatGPT to shorten your development time and make it dynamic enough for your specific organization. You're using your organization's verbiage, your organization's processes, while also, being more efficient in your design time. So there's a multitude of ways that generative AI can support and grow learning and development. And it doesn't mean taking over our jobs. It really does mean working with us and ensuring that human experience is still very much front and center.
Yeah, makes sense. I think it's so wonderful that you brought in the last comment of making sure that the human experiences are still pretty much part of the experiences that are required for the learners and so on and so forth. So before we wrap up, Cammy, would you like to share one single tip to all the L&D professionals who will be listening to us?
I would love to. And really, what I'll say is, and probably heard it a couple of times just throughout this interview, is if you keep the learner experience front and center, if that is your true north, you can't go wrong. If you are really taking the time to understand what your learner needs, how they need it, when they need it, and why they need it, you are guaranteed to have success in the development that you are trying to transfer to your employees. And so that would be my number one tip. Keep the learner experience number one.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Cammy. This was wonderful and these insights are amazing. I'm sure the audience of our podcast will love it. And we have learned so much about embedding learning in the flow of work today. To our audience, thank you for joining us. And if you like the episode, please subscribe, and we'll keep on churning the new episodes every now and then. And until next time, you have a wonderful day, wonderful week, and wonderful month ahead. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank you
nice
so
time.
much.